Hello and welcome, everyone. Nicolette Halladay here with Inspired Hearts Publishing. And today I am so excited to have Ruth Ann Krisa, a co author of the book, The Voyage and the Return. We are going to be talking about Ruth Ann's chapter. We're going to be talking about her journey and kind of what has brought her to this moment in time. Ruth Ann considers herself a wandering woman at heart. And that is a guiding vision and principle of her life. Welcome, Ruth Ann.
Well, welcome, Nicolette. I'm glad that I could be here today.
I'm so glad to have you here. And this is the second time I've gotten to interview you. And I just have to say, it's such a pleasure to be in your presence. You really have this calming, just this optimistic, like very grounded nature. So it's so great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You make it easy.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Ruth Ann, I want you to share a little bit about yourself, kind of what has got you to this point in time. And then we'll kind of dig into what you share in your chapter.
Okay. Um, it's called life. We've all gone through it, and my life has been many ups and downs, which I hope to be able to expand on more in the future with everybody. But my chapter came to me in bits and pieces. And I think at the time when each of those pieces came to me, what was going on in my life brought those ideas and thoughts to me. And then I just wrote them down. They came to me in the middle of the night, which we all know is the best time for great ideas to come to you, not knowing that it was a great idea. And just been keeping these thoughts written down in a folder on my computer for many years. Wandering Women at Heart, probably about 5 years that name came to me, and I was working on trying to do something with it, and nothing just really happened. But I've always kept it there in my computer in the back of my mind, and that's who I am. Because as I look at it, every woman has wandered somebody else's path instead of their own, because as women, we always try to please. So my wandering is the WANDERING, not the other. And
That's right. That's
I
right. That's a good
yes, uh,
distinction there.
exactly, because we keep going forward, and it's may not be the path we really want to take, but at the time that we make that split decision, it creates our life. So my
Yeah,
wondering,
so I just wanna, like, so, wondering, where you think kind of a wondering through times, but wondering what what does that mean to you? The wondering, WANDERING, wondering woman. What, share a little bit about kind of what that is.
um, my thought process, and everybody else's could be something else on that, but my thought process when the name came to me is that we are always moving forward and searching uh, as we go through life. And I've just been wondering other people's past. I'll be 67 in a few more weeks, and just been wandering down these paths that other people put in front of me, feeling that that's all I was worthy of.
Hmm.
And now I'm to the point in my life where I know I'm worthy of a lot more,
Hmm.
because I'm accepting of who I am at this point in my life, because we think a whole lot different when we're 20 and 30 and 40 and
Yeah.
even 50. And now I'm 60, and now I'm looking over on the other side of the mountain rather than this side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And it's got me wandering down a path that I think I've always had in me, because for years I have told anybody, listen, there is something I'm supposed to be doing. I just don't know what it is. And then this opportunity came about for me to do a chapter, and everything just fell into place, and a lot of great things are happening right now. So thank you,
I love
Nicolette.
that, and I wanna talk a little bit about some of those things that are kind of percolating for you in the background here in a minute, but I think just to echo a few of the things, I think you told me once also, as women, we are always wondering if we're doing the right thing, and that really, it really struck with me because I think there's so much truth to it, and like you said, we're always doing for other people, trying to fill fill a vision of who we are through who they think we should be sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
And like you said, really living a life based on what we think is possible instead of creating a life based on what we want to be possible, right?
Yes.
And there's different times in our life where there's I always say there's different seasons, right? And, it sounds like you're in a season of being really open-hearted and, open to receive,
Oh,
different
absolutely.
opportunities, and I just have to also say that not only have you been open to receive, but you've been excited to pursue those opportunities with an
Yes.
open heart, and not necessarily, like, having to know the destination, which can be such a challenge when you are asked to jump and you can't necessarily see the full vision, but you can trust in the momentum and the energy that you've been given. It's such a gift.
Well, my thoughts are, um, our self worth is always dictated by what others are saying to us.
Mm,
And we get loops in our mind as to what our self worth is. And again, that's that wandering down a path that someone else has put into that loop in your mind.
yeah,
And I think my book, my chapter, hopefully as people read it, will understand that there's other paths, once they get past that loop that's in their mind. So
absolutely. And for anyone who's watching, we are opening up a powerful container and book club that will be launching on July 27th, I believe. I'll double check the date. But it's going to be an opportunity to come in. To purchase a copy, a hard paperback copy. I don't know about you, but there's something about having
yep,
a book in your hands when you're reading it.
yep.
So obviously purchase a copy, but the opportunity to read alongside other like-minded and hearted women who are on their own personal voyage to come to the table to meet Ruth Ann and the other authors, to ask questions that you might kind of have lingering after reading their chapter, and to share your own voyage, your own personal transformation, the journey that you've been on. We really want this to be a place where you find friends and mentors, where you can see yourself in each other's journeys, because I think that's something that is so powerful about this book. It's each chapter is written by a different author at a different moment in time in their life from through their lens and perspective, but there is so many strings that are weaving these stories together, because we are all experiencing this human experience. And as women, there is a kindred spirit when it comes to that. So I invite everyone. We're going to be sharing a lot more about that in the next few days, to come in, get to know us a little bit, share your story, and I promise it's going to be a transformational experience for you. So, Ruth Ann, can you would you mind, so your chapter is Wandering Woman at Heart, chapter 14. Would you mind reading a section of your chapter? I'll leave it to you which section you feel you would like to start with.
What I'd also like to say is, when the opportunity came around to do this chapter, and myself not being a writer, even though I had anything to write, or what the other stories were about,
Mhm.
I went and wrote from the heart. And
Mhm.
what I have found out since I now have the book in my hand is that all the other chapters are about the women and their journeys and how they've overcome many things. When you read my chapter, I hope that it's able to help you overcome many things. And
Mm,
so that's what I'm telling people is a little different on
yeah.
my chapter. It's not my story per se, but somewhere in the universe, all these things came to me. So it is my story, probably
Yeah.
at different times in my life.
Yeah. I
And
think it's a
I've
deeper
woven them together.
I feel like it's a deeper, like, very, integral part of your story. It's like the woven pieces that you have kind of those
Yes.
wisdom, that you've gathered that, was gifted to you in a dream, which is such a like you mentioned, is such a powerful time to receive
Yeah.
guidance, and the fact that you took the initiative to say, this is coming to me. I'm going to get up and write this down before I forget it, because how many times do we get an idea? Do we receive a dream? Do we have an encounter and never take the time to really note it down so we can remember it for another time? So if anything, anyone who is watching this, if you get insights, if you have dreams,
Yeah.
take the time to document it, to write it down in a journal, to remember it, because you don't know for sure. It's like Ruth Ann, she was just trusting. This is information I want to remember later. I don't know why, but I'm just going to write it down. And look, all these, years later, there's an opportunity to share this work in a book. So it's a really great reminder. So would you like to read a section of your chapter?
Sure. Sure. And just as far as writing down, everyone that's here, I've gotten up in the middle of the night and emailed myself off of my phone and then went back to sleep
There you go.
and then
Yeah.
just put it into a folder. So
There
you
you go.
just
That
never
works great.
know.
Yes,
Never know.
do, and it's so easy these days to do it. I am like a prolific journaler. I have journals just, and then of course I never want to, so it's like I have stacks and stacks of journals.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, there has been dreams that have gotten lost because I didn't take the time to note them down.
Yeah.
So I'm taking that message from you, and definitely just saying, yeah, take a few, just get the gist down. So
Okay. I'm going to just read like the very first paragraph of my chapter. It's called, Have you been a wandering woman at heart? We are all wandering women at heart, as we have all walked a path of others' dreams. How many paths has your soul taken? Is your soul telling you that you are destined to do something just out of your grasp? As a wandering woman at heart, who has felt that they are never seen? I am nobody. I am somebody. I am the soul of a nobody left behind, and I'm the soul that somebody found. I am the nobody people stare through. I am the somebody people stop and stare at. What could I have become if I was a somebody? I will never know, as I am a nobody. Life gives the somebodies a purpose and a plan. As a nobody, life lets you meander on your own with the hopes of finding a path. If a somebody and a nobody connect, they may create an anybody, but the chances that are happening are left to the consequences of the universe.
mm, it's so relevant to everything you shared. So, um, how has what you wrote in your chapter, how is it kind of showing up in the work that you are doing today?
After I completed my chapter, I thought about doing a memoir of my life because a lot has happened throughout my life. And I just start writing stories down. And then I start thinking about my chapter because I have many more things that aren't in my chapter in my little folder. And so I started getting the idea of putting a journal together.
Mhm.
And so I am currently working on that right now, where you will actually have bits and pieces of my life story on the left side called I Am Nobody. And on the right side, it'll be I am somebody. And then that will be the inspirations that I bring forward from some of the other things I'll share from my book, plus things that have not been out there, and asking you questions and giving you things to think about and what have you. So
Hmm.
I'm
I
working
love
on
it
that
so much.
right
I am
now.
so excited to see that come to fruition. And I think what really resonates with the idea for me of, I am nobody and I am somebody is we all feel the spectrum of that
Yeah.
throughout our life, right?
Yep.
Every single person feels at times like they are nobody, and other times, especially when we can place ourselves in, a conducive environment with loving and supportive people, when we can take care of ourselves and practice, what I like to call radical self-care, when we can push past our own mental demons that want to kind of the gremlins that come in our head and want to kind of, eat away at our belief in ourselves.
Yeah.
When we can do those things, every single one of us can feel like we are someone and we are doing the work that we're meant to be doing in this world, right?
Yes. Yes. Again,
Yeah.
it's that path that wandering women have done that creates either I am nobody or I am somebody.
Yeah, and it's such an invitation for us to kinda look at both sides of that coin and remember that we get to decide in
Yeah.
every moment, right?
Yes.
Um, so you have a journal possibly in the works. I know you and I, another fun project that probably isn't ready to be announced, but you've been, you had recorded these children's stories, right?
Yes. Friend of mine adopted a boy from Russia, and my wife and I helped her raise him for the first couple years. And so my wife is Nana, I'm Nana Ruthie, and every night that he spent in my house, I would create stories for him, and he named the character Jack, and Jack would do different stories, and I recorded those. So I'm looking at creating children's books where you'll actually be able to listen to how the story actually came about. You'll hear my grandson's voice when he was between 4 and 5, talking to me, trying to understand, because he came from Russia. He had no idea. He was in an orphanage.
Mhm.
So that, and then also, I would like to be able to read the actual story so that you could either get the story being told by Nana Ruthie, or you can get the actual story as it was created to go along with the book. So
Yeah, it's
I'm
it's
working on those things right now.
It's another incredible example, I feel like, of you really taking the moment that is given to you and documenting it not for any necessary purpose, but then keeping it and realizing, wow, all these things that we did in this moment, these, kind of just really you were doing it for him and you had the insight to record yourself. And these moments of connection that you've, been able to capture, and then, see where things unfold. So again, it's just such a great reminder that sometimes we don't always see the full vision yet. And it's okay to start moving in the direction. It's okay to not know and still, do the thing. And sometimes something will come of it. And sometimes it's just meant to be what it was. And that's just as valuable, I think. So I'm excited to see all these things and really just your open heart and desire to be like, I'm curious about where these things are going to take me is such an inspiration to me.
One of the things I just want to say, the recordings were done when my grandson was between 4 and 5. In August, he will be 15. So those have
Mm.
been sitting in my
Yes.
computer for 10 years.
Right,
And I
yes, and what
actually
a
shot.
treat for him to get to go back and listen to those. I'm sure that's gonna bring up some incredible memories. So um, obviously life is full of twists and turns, and there's ebbs and flows and lots of ups and downs. What does success mean to you?
Hmm. I think at different parts in our life, success means different things. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. When I was 20 years old, my boss came up in a brand new 1974 Electra 225, and he showed me all the bells and whistles on it, and his windshield wipers came on automatically. And at that point I said, when I get a car where the wipers come on automatically, I know I'll be successful.
Yeah.
And that was when I was 20. So success changes depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Um, at this point in my life, at one time it was just being able to show people I could do anything I wanted without an education other than a high school education,
Mm-hmm.
and leaving my home at 17 and being on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to prove constantly that I was capable of doing. And at 18, I started managing a gas station where I pumped the gas. And that led into a career working in convenience stores as manager of multi-million dollar businesses. And over a period of time, I've ran, well, the last one I ran was a property worth $32 million and 300 some homes on it. I managed the property.
Wow. Such a progression. And I'm sure, especially in those earlier stages, you were proving it to yourself as much as you were to anyone else, right?
I was, but now I know that really wasn't success. That
Mm,
was surviving and creating and learning and showing people. I think success is something that has to come from within.
mm.
And I
I
think I'm
I
to
I
that.
would have to argue that it was success because it came from such a place of grit and
Yeah.
determination and, belief in yourself, because you really have to be able to believe in something when you're pushing yourself into new
Oh, yeah.
territories and, doing things that are hard and showing up and working hard and making a life for yourself. It definitely comes from within. So I always like to challenge you on those
Yeah, I
things
know.
if
I
you
know.
haven't
I
noticed.
know. I know. But
Mm,
I think success now, I think the biggest thing that they have success is you have to have your own personal happiness. If you don't have that, I just, you've got to be happy with yourself. You got to be happy with what you're doing. I wasn't always happy with what I was doing. I was just doing
yeah,
to get to the next point of my life.
yeah. I think
And
I've had, times in my life where on the exterior, maybe it looked really successful,
mhm,
but inside, it didn't feel content, it felt hollow, and it didn't really feel connected.
right,
I've had other times, where, I was just at the beginning of something, I wasn't on the exterior, it probably didn't look as successful, but I felt so connected to myself and my purpose that it felt very successful.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So just a reminder, The Voyage and the Return is available. Oops, there we go. You gotta hold up your copy too. Oh, there we go. Woohoo. The Voyage and the Return is available in paperback and hardcover. So get your copy in your hands. Read the stories, leave us a 5-star review on Amazon. I know Ruth Ann would be so grateful to hear your feedback.
yes,
It's really just the thing about this book is there are 17 stories from 17 women who are in different places in their life and sharing just a lot of really deep transformation. There's vulnerability and just realness in these stories. And what I envision as the CEO of Inspired Hearts Publishing, and as I'm putting these kinds of books together, is an invitation for you to be honest and truthful about where you've been, where you're at now, and where you see yourself going. I think that when we can share our stories from a place of connection, from a place of reflection, um, and a place of, hoping someone will see themselves in it. I think that's how it's to me, this is how, so many of the problems in the world change because we see past the differences and we start seeing ourselves in a lot more similarities. I promise you, these women in this book have different beliefs, have different, I'm sure there's a full spectrum, but the difference is we don't talk about those things. We talk about the things that are really connecting us. And it's become such a powerful container because of that. So, what has been your favorite part about participating in this project?
I got quite a few, but I think my most favorite is how open all the authors have been. I've talked to quite a few. We've done Zooms one-on-one just to get to learn each other a little bit more, and what types of businesses they have in their life. And everybody has been willing to help. If I send out an email or a text and say, hey, I need help with this, do you have anybody who can do this or that? Been very quickly getting answers from the different authors. And the other thing is it's taken me to start looking at taking care of myself more,
Mm, yeah.
taking
I
time for
think
myself.
I just have to say that I am such a strong believer in our own leadership. And to me, leadership is showing up in whatever kinds of scenarios you're in and choosing to really be present and engage and get the most out of that opportunity. And sometimes, it might be looking at something and saying, I see this path and I'm going to take it, or I see this, this, and this, and these are all opportunities I'm going to take. But really showing up in the front row and saying, I have a question. Hey, I have something to share, and you've embodied it. And that's why you've received that is a big reason, I think, that you've received such a bounty of so much from this opportunity because you have been open and you have been the leader in your own experience. So thank you for doing that, because I think it's important for everyone to remember the power we have. Two people can show up to the same thing and they will receive a totally different experience, right?
Well, absolutely.
Based on how they approach it, how that, if you're looking at something, you're like, oh, this isn't going right. This isn't, or if you're looking, you're like, oh my gosh, look at all these opportunities and all these wonderful people. And so really your perspective and how you show up to something is absolutely going to impact the outcome that it has for you. And it's been something that I've really embodied in these last couple of years, and it's literally transformed my life. So I just always encourage other people to kind of look into that. So, so in closing, let's see, I had a question for you and then kind of went off on my tangent. So, I guess let's just say one last thing. And I think you've kind of like touched on it, but what is, when someone picks up your chapter and reads, what is the thing that what do you hope they receive the most from it?
I hope when they read it and they see themselves in what I have put into print, that it may help them take whatever their next step is so that they can have the happiness that they want.
That's a wonderful way to close this. So if you're curious about the book club, please reach out to me or Ruth Ann or one of the other co-authors. We'll make sure, I will go ahead and add the link to to join that container. It's a Facebook group. It's going to be a private Facebook group. We're also going to be meeting on Zoom, reading the book, reflecting. There's going to be, it's going to be an opportunity for everyone involved to deepen in their own transformation. So I'm really excited and looking forward to it. I will make sure to add the links to purchase the book. So if you haven't, do it, because it's such a beautiful book. And really, I think Jamie was the one who said, like, it's just the texture is so beautiful, like everything about it. There's something, it's definitely been a labor of love from so many people.
Yes.
And you'll feel that the moment you receive it. So go ahead and purchase the book. And we can't wait to visit with you next time. But that's all for us today. So we will be signing off. Take care, everyone.
Bye.